So good morning, everyone, or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are and whenever you join us. My name is aLex and I'm here to guide us together through meditation on Sun and Moon Yoga Studio's YouTube channel. So today, now I've already forgotten what I've titled this meditation, Longing and Approaching the Longest Night. Longest night. So the longing part, and as I speak for a few minutes, please go ahead and you can do whatever you need to prepare for your seat to be comfortable for our 12 minute or so sit. I think this is all from my experience, so yours might be different, and do check with yourself always as the final answer of what brings us to our meditation. When Jackie and I would join Adyashanti for retreat, in the beginning of it, he'd often ask us to ask ourselves, why are we here? Why did we clear our schedule for 3, 5, 7 days, have someone take care of all of our affairs so we could be in silence for that long? And so even as we embark on a practice, a regular practice of a few minutes a day, 15 minutes, half hour, 20 minutes, it's helpful to know why we're doing this. And in the listening for that, you might find, as you pay attention to your own wellspring, what draws you, what calls you, what longings live in yourself. And as another of my teachers, Russell Delman, says, we long for something that when we long for something, there's already a knowing of it inside us. A knowing, for example, the example he gives is, I forget the word he says, he's like, we don't really crave gulaka ice cream, because we've never had a taste of gulaka ice cream. We don't know what it is. But if he would arrive somewhere, and maybe in Russia, they have a flavor, it sounds like a little bit like could be a Russian name. Maybe then we know. So in us is something that's calling us toward silence, towards quiet, toward the darkness that is part of that kind of quiet. And we are heading for the longest night, darkest 24 hours of the night in the Northern Hemisphere. And so I'm going to read 3 different verses from the Tao Te Ching. The first verse I'll read second. Start with the 51st verse. And then at the end of our sit, I'll read another verse. So I'm not reading them in the order they come in the book. The Tao Te Ching is a book maybe translated as the book of the way. The Tao being the way, the great way, the source of life, perhaps it could be said. So 51st verse. Every being in the universe is an expression of the Tao. It springs into existence unconscious, perfect, free, takes on a physical body, lets circumstances complete it. That is why every being spontaneously honors the Tao. The Tao gives birth to all beings, nourishes them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself, creating without possessing, acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. That is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. It's good to listen with our whole being when we hear poetry. This is kind of a poetry. are profound words that have lasted many millennia. And this version is a translation by Stephen Mitchell. And the first verse. So that was to give you a flavor of sort of like what could we sense the Tao is. And now, the first opening lines. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The unnameable is the eternal real, eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness within darkness. The gateway to all understanding. This source is called darkness. So as we sit, I often use the cues to help us come into full presence of ground, sound, breath. They don't have to be in that order. I usually prefer ground first to really sense how we're supported by the whatever is below us, the earth and the ground and the soil and the tile of the floor under us and the blankets and cushions. And our body meeting with gravity, meeting that solidness. From that solidness, from that force of gravity that comes downward to the solid earth, comes the levity upward, the lightness, wherein we can feel the breath, to help us stay present, to help us feel, to help us let go. By kind of a paradox, by focusing our attention on something, on that groundedness of our body and earth, of the breath. And then we open and sound, space around, this coming and going that is welcome into the body, into the senses, and flows out. This constant exchange, waves of experience. So now we'll start the timer of our 12 minutes and singing going. I don't know where I put my bell. It's somewhere here. There it is. Let's start with a bow and a ring of the bell. And so allow yourself to settle now into stillness, into taking however you set your hands in the mudra, however you position your body. And you could be sitting in a chair, could be lying down, although that's a different energy. You might might simultaneously tend to breath and ground, those two elements together. It can be helpful, especially if you are having trouble settling, to 10 to 3 full breaths, noticing the feel of the breath in the belly. And that kind of practice of counting and observing 3 breaths is a supplemental practice to the main practice of just sitting, being, and breathing. And the stillness, the presence, simply receives sounds, sensations, like my gurgling belly or my cold toes. Some of those perceptions will be not sticky at all, they'll just come and go. They clearly do not bother the silence and stillness. Other perceptions are more engaging. They seem to take us away from presence. List making, planning, traveling in our minds. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind. I invite you. Be forgiving. Resting into awareness. Resting as awareness. Thinking happens. No problem. No problem. This stillness, this emptiness, this silence allows us to see more clearly, to discern between thinking, kinds of thinking, constructs of the mind, and what is real just right here now. Perhaps even every time we sit in meditation, we approach that longest night, that deepest darkness that may contain what we don't know, what we fear, what we've suppressed, what we don't want to see. But it also contains, just like the soil contains the environment to nurture a seed, it contains the potential, the future to be revealed from the unknown, the mysterious. It doesn't negate the light. The light is still there. The wholeness of all of this is what perhaps we long for. Bowing freshly, presently here. Thank you for being here with me today. Oh, my third verse. My third verse. I was going to let you go. Not so easy. Not so quick. Here we go. Number 23. Express yourself completely, then keep quiet. Be like the forces of nature. When it blows, there is only wind. When it rains, there is only rain. When the clouds pass, the sun shines through. If you open yourself to the Tao, you are at one with the Tao, and you can embody it completely. If you open yourself to insight, you are at one with insight, and you can use it completely. If you open yourself to loss, you are at one with loss, and you can accept it completely. Open yourself to the Tao, then trust your natural responses, and everything will fall into place. Beautiful, and the words make it sound easy, but the Tao that can be spoken is not the Tao. So it takes the experience, not just the words, but the sitting here together as we have done today. And so perhaps I think that often the longest night of the year, the solstice, is celebrated for the knowledge that the light is going to start to increase again. But maybe we can also just celebrate the darkness, to accept it, to in a way that feels we're ready for, and perhaps having both a deep knowing of darkness and light. And surely there will be times when new darknesses come, that new unknowns, uh, new confusions that stop us in our tracks, perhaps. But the more we can remember to come to presence and awareness, to hold this all, we can both have the wisdom of how to meet it safely, wisely, compassionately, and fully, enjoyably. So happy solstice, everyone. Thanks for being here. Do check out all our offerings on sunandmoonstudio.com. And tune-ins are going on now, at least one or two a day. I'll be attending the solstice with John on Monday evening, tomorrow, 6:00 Eastern time. See you here next week. Happy holidays to all the ways you celebrate. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you all that joined me here, and ciao, ciao till next time.